Life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. Once you label me, you negate me. Our life always expresses the result of our dominant thoughts. The tyrant dies and his rule is over. The martyr dies and his rule begins. Patience is necessary, and one cannot reap immediately where one has sown. Personality is only ripe when a man has made the truth his own. Be that self which one truly is. Life has its own hidden forces which you can only discover by living. God creates out of nothing. Wonderful, you say. Yes, to be sure, but he does what is still more wonderful. He makes saints out of sinners. Faith is the highest passion in a human being. Many in every generation may not come that far, but none comes further. Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. The truth is a snare. You cannot have it without being caught. You cannot have the truth in such a way that you catch it, but only in such a way that it catches you. The more a man can forget, the greater the number of metamorphoses which his life can undergo. The more he can remember, the more divine his life becomes. How absurd men are! They never use the liberties they have, they demand those they do not have. They have freedom of thought, they demand freedom of speech. Far from idleness being the root of all evil, it is rather the only true good. Trouble is the common denominator of living. It is the great equalizer. It was completely fruitless to quarrel with the world, whereas the quarrel with oneself was occasionally fruitful and always, she had to admit, interesting. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. To dare is to lose one's footing momentarily. Not to dare is to lose oneself. Boredom is the root of all evil, the despairing refusal to be oneself. Face the facts of being what you are, for that is what changes what you are. Love is all, it gives all, and it takes all. Marriage brings one into fatal connection with custom and tradition, and traditions and customs are like the wind and weather, altogether incalculable. Purity of heart is to will one thing. It belongs to the imperfection of everything human that man can only attain his desire by passing through its opposite. There is nothing with which every man is so afraid as getting to know how enormously much he is capable of doing and becoming. At the bottom of enmity between strangers lies indifference. Old age realizes the dreams of youth. Look at Dean Swift. In his youth he built an asylum for the insane. In his old age he was himself an inmate. I feel as if I were a piece in a game of chess. When my opponent says of it, that piece cannot be moved. If I am capable of grasping God objectively, I do not believe, but precisely because I cannot do this I must believe. Love does not alter the beloved, it alters itself. Don't forget to love yourself. Prayer does not change God, but it changes him who prays. People demand freedom of speech as a compensation for the freedom of thought which they seldom use. The function of prayer is not to influence God, but rather to change the nature of the one who prays. The highest and most beautiful things in life are not to be heard about, nor read about, nor seen, but, if one will, are to be lived. Most men pursue pleasure with such breathless haste that they hurry past it. It is so hard to believe because it is so hard to obey. It seems essential, in relationships and all tasks, that we concentrate only on what is most significant and important. People understand me so poorly that they don't even understand my complaint about them not understanding me. There are, as is known, insects that die in the moment of fertilization. So it is with all joy, life's highest, most splendid moment of enjoyment is accompanied by death. One can advise comfortably from a safe port. Take away paradox from the thinker and you have a professor. During the first period of a man's life, the greatest danger is not to take the risk. Since my earliest childhood, a barb of sorrow has lodged in my heart. As long as it stays, I am ironic. If it is pulled out, I shall die. I begin with the principle that all men are bores. Surely no one will prove himself so great a bore as to contradict me in this.